Transformers: The Last Knight is the last entry into the Transformers series by Michael Bay. Is it a hit or a miss? I'll let you know coming up. Following the events of Transformers: Age of Extinction, The Last Knight picks up a little bit after the events of the fourth film. There is now a new organization tasked with hunting down all Transformers, not just the Decepticon ones. Cade Yeager, played by returning star Mark Wahlberg, helps Autobot Transformers evade the authorities. One of the new arrivals dies upon landing on Earth and gives Cade a talisman. This item not only ties to the Transformers' history, but also answers why they keep coming to Earth, and also determines his destiny and fate among the Transformers story. There is a lot of explaining that goes on during the movie. Most of it is done by newcomer Anthony Hopkins. You would think that bringing somebody on board like Anthony Hopkins would add a lot of class to the movie. But the reality is, Michael Bay sinks him down to all those dumb one-liners that he's very famous for in the Transformers movies. Okay. Speaking of humor, there's a ton of awkward humor from almost every character in this movie, and I don't think it's going to resonate with any age group or ethnicity. Dinosaur. When there's a pause in the movie for the audience to laugh, and only one or two people do, you've kind of failed at the job. A lot of new characters introduced in the movie are terribly done. There's also this little girl that's hyped up in the trailer who talks like a badass.
I'm not leaving you.
But when you finish the movie, you're like, why are we even there? She doesn't add anything to the film and could have been completely cut out. Speaking of leaving out, about 45 minutes of the movie could have been chopped and you would have a pretty decent story, but for some reason the writers decided to add a lot of extra bloat to the story. I think they just tried too hard to set up this movie for the Transformers cinematic universe that's coming down the road. What's something else that sucked out this movie? A lot of the marketing for the movie showed Optimus. A lot of the posters, the trailers, the TV spots, Optimus is everywhere. But when you watch the movie, he's in about 10% of it.
Do you seek redemption?
My maker, I do.
I saw The Last Knight at my local IMAX theater since the marketing for the movie made a big deal about the use of IMAX cameras. And I have to say, it was worth the money.
Get more activity from you guys, come on. This is IMAX camera. You know how big that is on IMAX? You guys are huge on that screen.
The Last Knight was shot on IMAX digital 3D cameras. As expected, the image looks absolutely gorgeous on screen. Michael Bay says 98% of the movie was filmed with the IMAX cameras, with the remaining 2% filmed with Red Epic cameras. However, I'd like to know how much of the IMAX footage was edited into the movie, because there is a lot of switching between the full-frame IMAX and the Cinescope and back and forth. When directors use IMAX cameras, they'll typically use IMAX just for the action, and then the dialogue will be a regular camera, so that the IMAX large shots are woven together and you don't keep getting a jarring switch between IMAX's full frame and the Cinescope ratio. But, for some reason, a mega successful director like Michael Bay thought it would be a great idea to weave in Cinescope shots and IMAX shots together in the same scene at random, even during action scenes. On the flip side, the IMAX footage used was fantastic. The coloring in the movie is absolutely beautiful, as you can tell from watching the trailers. Probably the one saving grace of paying extra for the IMAX experience is the 3D. I usually hate 3D, but this time around the 3D was very good. Transformers is sound mix in Dolby Atmos, Dolby Surround 7.1, Datasat, and Dolby Digital. IMAX theaters have special sound systems in them to increase the awesomeness. While the bass was fantastic and literally shook me in my seat on several occasions during the 5 million explosions that Bay likes to put in every movie, the directional sound of the action on screen was a bit lacking. It seemed like the side and rear speakers were used very little, which is disappointing when you think about a big budget blockbuster like the Transformers franchise. I have mixed feelings about the soundtrack for this movie. Steve Jablonsky composed the soundtrack to The Last Knight and is no stranger to big budget movies. At times, the editing mixed in with the music made parts of the movie feel like an epic action trailer within the movie itself, but at other times, the music was super bland. The famous Transformers tune we have come to recognize in the Michael Bay films only makes an appearance twice that I can recall. Should you see The Last Knight on the big screen? The answer is still yes, because with all of its faults, The Last Knight is still a big, beautiful action movie that's made to be seen on the big screen. Just keep in mind there are tons of useless characters on screen and a lot of bloat to the story. I do feel bad for Michael Bay because I feel like people automatically crap on his movies because that's the cool thing to do. So long as you have low expectations for the story, you'll enjoy The Last Knight. Bay has said that this is his last Transformers movie, and I certainly hope so, and we get fresh eyes behind the camera for the next Transformers outing. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit the subscribe button on your way out. I'm Isaac, and this is Movie University.